Southern Oregon is known for its beautiful landscapes, charming towns, and a slower pace of life that many people absolutely dream of. But when it comes to choosing the right place to live, the region has a wide variety of towns, each with its own personality, price range, and lifestyle. So whether you're drawn to the historic charm or outdoor adventures or affordability, there is a lot to consider, and some of these towns definitely you might want to think twice about. Here's the truth. The best or worst towns in Southern Oregon completely depend on you, your budget, your lifestyle, your commute preferences, and your priorities. Those all factor into finding the perfect fit. Hey, I'm Brian Simmons with the Buying Southern Oregon Real Estate Team, and for many years I have helped folks from all over the country relocate and find their dream home right here in beautiful Southern Oregon, and I am ready to help you figure out which town might be the best fit for you. So let's go ahead and start by talking about the lowest rated towns, and we're going to go all the way up to the number one highest ranked town in Southern Oregon. And I can promise you this is absolutely going to stir the pot, and I'm going to get completely roasted in the comments for this, and I cannot even believe that I'm about to do this, but here we go. We're gonna start out with tier D. D is in you got a D on your English test in high school. Never got that, by the way, just for the record. But these towns are ones that are definitely gonna be generally a little more budget friendly, but they're gonna face challenges. Sometimes maybe safety concerns, sometimes proximity to amenities, older infrastructure, those kinds of things. The first D town on our list is Gold Hill, okay? Gold Hill, I feel bad putting on this list. I feel like I'm gonna feel bad putting all of these towns on this list, but Gold Hill, it does have some things going for it. It's centrally located between Medford and Grants Pass, which is great for a lot of people if you're commuting to one or the other or even both. But it's a town that just feels neglected. I don't know how to put it really in a nice way, but it just feels like there's been not really a lot of development, not a lot of improvement has gone on there. As long as I can remember, Gold Hill looks pretty much the same as far as I can remember for as long as I can remember. It's basically been the same thing. There's maybe been a little bit of facelift here and there in some buildings, but for the most part, it's kind of just looks the same that it always has. And so if you're looking for, affordability, and you're looking for, a place that can take you, you can go hop on the freeway and quickly be in Grants Pass or Medford, it's a great option to consider for those types of folks. It's also great because it has the Rogue River running right through it. And so I think like with all of those things together, kind of what makes me a little bit bummed out about Gold Hill. And I think if you're not familiar with Gold Hill, which you're probably not if you're watching this video, but it's a kind of hillside town, smaller lots, older homes, smaller homes typically, not really like the prettiest thing when you're driving through it visually, but it's just kind of a good location. That's what really bums me out though. I think that this is the town that if I were to say there's one town in Southern Oregon that has so much untapped potential, like it's Gold Hill to me. Being centrally located, having the history that it has as an old historic town, the name's even cool. All these things that could make Gold Hill so awesome, but it's just not. It's just stuck in this rut, and I don't know what needs to happen to get it out of it. I don't know if it's something the city government needs to do. I don't know if it's something that the residents need to do to, get more money going on there. I don't know. Don't live there, but I can tell you it's a shame. I drive through there a lot. And I wish Gold Hill would get it figured out and be one of the top towns on this list because it has so much potential. Next up, still at that D level, is Cave Junction, okay? And I've talked a lot about Cave Junction on this channel. I've bashed it pretty good. And I want to talk about a couple things that I think Cave Junction is doing good because we're going to try to steer things a little positively here. Not that we're steering anything because steering is illegal as a realtor, so we're definitely not steering, but we're going to talk about Cave Junction positively and honestly because it is a town that is affordable, okay? That's a good thing. It has that going for it for sure. And it's absolutely improving. Cave Junction of old got its reputation for being really kind of the hub, the cannabis industry. So medical marijuana became a thing, and then recreational marijuana became a thing. A lot of growing happened out in the Illinois Valley and in Cave Junction, and that brought in a lot of people who were not of the highest integrity and those sorts of things. And so coincidentally, that timed with the passing of some, well, I guess the not passing of some funding things, some funding issues, let's call it, in Josephine County. And it led to Cave Junction kind of becoming like the Wild Wild West. And so it got a bad reputation for that. And so now, things have improved there, without a doubt. There's been some good development that's gone on out there, some new communities that have been built, and I've heard a lot of good things about the schools out there lately. And so I think that, it's a D because it has the reputation and because it hasn't made it all the way back up yet. But it would have been an F. Without a doubt. They would have been the only town on this list with an F. But it's definitely coming back, and so you gotta go to a D before you get to a C. So we're getting there, Cave Junction. But anyways, there's some things there that no matter how good Cave Junction gets, it's still 40 minutes to Grants Pass. They can't change that, right? It's still a long ways out, and that appeals to some people, but not most. And so for that reason, I think it's just one that doesn't really attract a lot of people. But otherwise, Cave Junction really not, a very sought after town. But we have worked with a lot of people to buy and sell in Cave Junction. And what I would say is, the people that tend to go there, people that either have some sort of connection with family there, or they are, really, really looking at affordability and just want to, have that rural lifestyle where they don't need to be really close to the hospital. They don't really need to be close to jobs and those sorts of things. And so for those types of folks, Cave Junction's a great fit. Next up, and the last D on our list, is White City, okay? What can we say about White City? It is affordable, closer proximity to Medford. It's about, 15 minutes outside of Medford. Crime rate going to be a little higher out there. Amenities going to be a little bit less out there. I've talked a lot about this in other videos, but if you drive through White City, you're likely going to see some graffiti. It's kind of tends to be the place where the first-time home buyers try to focus because you get a lot for your money out there. There's been a lot of, townhouses, like multi-story townhouses that are really affordable. And so developers have kind of like tried to really focus on that in this area. The land cost was low when they built these places. And so, it just kind of made sense to create. And so White City, I think it doesn't get, a high grade because of those things, because it's just, you drive through it and you'll see the graffiti, you'll see kind of trash on the streets here and there. You'll see a town that just kind of feels like it needs, some life, breathed into it. It just feels like it needs to be cleaned and renovated and updated and all that. But I don't know if that'll ever happen, because it's kind of like every town, every area has to have those types of places, right? You need to have places that are super, super affordable, and you need to have, places that are, kind of off the beaten path where people, I guess it's not really off the beaten path, but, places that are a little bit further out of town where the dollar stretches a little bit further. And White City is definitely one of those places. So, but in overall, looking at all the cities and towns here in Southern Oregon, I'm going to put a D grade on White City, and that's going to wrap that up for the Ds. And we're going to move on into the Cs, which I'm going to characterize as having solid value. These towns, there's definitely going to be some trade-offs in some of them. You're going to get a good value, but you're maybe going to give up in another area. So let's stop talking about it. Let's just start going into what these towns actually are. So the first C town on our list is going to be Medford, but it's actually like a subset of Medford, and it is going to be South Medford and West Medford, okay? And that's an improvement. And so I know some of you are probably like, well, this a C for South Medford? No way. But I'm lumping South Medford and West Medford together. So anyways, Medford is the largest city in Southern Oregon, about 80,000 people population. Does have a nice little downtown thing going on, although the downtown of Medford is not anywhere near as good as some of the other places, but it does have it. There are some businesses there, there's some amenities there, shopping, dining, all those sorts of things, jobs. So it does have those things going for it, which is great. There's been a lot of development that's gone on in West Medford and South Medford, and those are the reasons why it's a C and not a D. Okay, it's just like Cave Junction was. Probably was an F a year ago, a couple years ago. Now it's a D. West Medford, South Medford was probably a D a few years ago, and now it's a C. So it's definitely improving. 100%. Can't argue that. Lots of good things are happening there. The South Medford High School getting redone, and that whole thing becoming, nice and new a few years back. Like that's all adding to the up and up of the neighborhood and the improvement. So some of the things that you're going to face as challenges in these areas are maybe a little bit of a higher crime rate. You're going to probably see some homeless people because you have the proximity to downtown Medford and some of those sorts of things, right? You're going to have to deal with some construction because of all the development that's going on over there. There's some, road work going on. It seems like for several years there's been. But South Medford, West Medford, again, C rated, but a popular spot. I mean, there's a lot of homes there, lots of options for folks that are looking kind of at that like median to lower price point. Maybe let's say 450 is about the median in Southern Oregon. So let's say the 350 to 450 type buyer 100% should check out the West Medford, South Medford area. There's going to be some good options there, and you're going to find some houses that are nicer than what you're going to find in other areas that are later on this list in the B's and the A's areas. So I would still, I wouldn't hesitate for a second to consider West Medford, South Medford at all. Definitely up and coming, improving, but for now, it is a C on this list. Next up is Shady Cove, and I love Shady Cove. And I feel, again, almost a little bit bad putting it as a C here because it is such a cool little town. There's a lot of things that I love. The river going right through it is beautiful. Probably the best river town in Southern Oregon. I'm going to say I think that's probably true. Sorry, Grants Pass. Sorry, Rogue River that I live in. I think Shady Cove takes the cake. It's just like synonymous with the river. When you talk about where should I go rafting or fishing or just go up and go get in the water, I mean, Shady Cove is it. It's the gateway to the Upper Rogue. And so if you ever see pictures, maybe we'll put some on the screen right now of the Upper Rogue River, the Rogue River Gorge, the Natural Bridge, those sorts of things. Shady Cove is like the gateway to all that. Lost Creek Lake is right up the road. Prospect and the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest is right up there. So lots of great stuff right outside of Shady Cove that is awesome. And so I really do love the town of Shady Cove for sure. But Shady Cove is a C because of the proximity to everything, okay? It's still a ways out of town. If you want to get into the Medford Airport, it's about 40 minutes. So you kind of have to deal with that if you're living out there. But if the rural lifestyle, the small town, kind of tight-knit community, if you're a fisherman or woman and you want to be close to the river for all that kind of stuff, like, it's great for all those things. Really, really is. But proximity to hospital, proximity to work, proximity to airport, Costco, those things, it's a haul. It's no question. And that's something that's just not for everybody. And so as I talk to, people that are looking at relocating to Southern Oregon from other areas across the country, and we go and we see homes in Shady Cove, and the number one thing that is a deterrent is just how far out it is. That's just something that comes up a lot. And so for that reason, we're going to go ahead and give it a C. However, if you don't care about those things, if you are like, hey, I'm retired and I'm fine being 30 minutes to the hospital, 40 minutes to the hospital, whatever it is, or the doctor's offices or Costco, or great. Hey, Shady Cove is an awesome option. There's good restaurants there. There's great recreation, like we said. It's beautiful, a little bit higher elevation, so you might get a little bit more snow and stuff, but not much. But yeah, I think it's a good town. It's a good choice. It's something that I really like. I enjoy going to Shady Cove a lot. Next on the C list here is Phoenix and Talent, and I'm lumping them together just because I feel like we've always lumped them together. If you are a local, you probably talk about Phoenix and Talent together. It's just kind of a thing. I don't know why. It's always kind of been that way. They're both about the same size. They're really close together. Hard to tell where one stops and the other begins. It's just kind of how it's always been. So we're going to go ahead and say Phoenix and Talent are a C on this list, and they're up and coming too. Okay, so if you saw or maybe you have or haven't, the Alameda fire ripped through Phoenix and Talent and burnt 2,000 homes. A horribly sad story back in 2020. But these towns are climbing back. They're building new downtown areas. There's a lot of really cool things going on. Like in Talent, there's the Foodery, which is amazing. It's a really cool idea of an outdoor little space. And there's stuff like that that's going on that's really cool. So the towns are doing a very good job of kind of reinventing themselves. And your proximity to Ashland is phenomenal. So if you're somebody who's like, hey, I really want to be in the Ashland area, but I just can't afford Ashland because it's so expensive, Talent and Phoenix are really like great places to look. Because the dollar just stretches a lot further. You're also going to find a lot of new construction there because all those homes that burnt, they rebuilt a lot of them. And so you're going to see a lot of new construction there. You're going to see a lot of neighborhoods that, everything just kind of looks new because it is. And so that has, on the downside, it's priced a lot of people out who used to live there. But on the positive side, it's allowed these communities to kind of reinvent themselves and their image and just kind of like start from the ground up. And create communities that they wanted to create there. So Phoenix Talent, I think, are great. Proximity to Ashland is awesome. They're kind of right between Medford and Ashland on the southern end of the Rogue Valley. So convenient access to the hospitals. If you work at the Rogue Regional Medical Center or Sante Hospitals or any of the specialist clinics up around off of Barnett Road, where a lot of them are centered, Phoenix to Talent, great area to look for sure. Definitely going to get a little bit better stretch of the dollar there versus Ashland or East Medford or somewhere like that. But a lot of good options. And also both of these towns have nice little, outskirt areas where if you wanted maybe a half an acre or an acre even outside of town, Phoenix and Talent are great options for that. Still going to maintain that small town charm, still going to have great access to all the different amenities. And for those reasons, I really think these towns are awesome and some of our favorite amongst our clients, especially, if you're looking for that kind of artistic vibe and you want that a little bit more of kind of the fun, like the foodery concept is an outdoor, food trucks with like fire pits and all that kind of stuff. Really cool. Really, really fun space. So if you're looking for that type of an environment, 100% check out Phoenix Talent. I think you really, really like it. They're definitely on the rise. Would not be surprised at all to see them on the B list next year. Speaking of the B list, let's jump into that because these are the towns that are experiencing some significant growth, a lot of revitalization. They're offering, a good balance of value and lifestyle. They're pretty desirable or very desirable. Schools are often going to be really, really good, that kind of stuff. So number one on the B list is Central Point. Okay. And I absolutely love Central Point. I used to live in Central Point for a little bit, and our office, the Buying Southern Oregon Real Estate team, is located in Central Point. So one of our favorite neighborhoods of Central Point is the Twin Creek subdivision. That's where our office is. So come by and check us out. We are in Suite F of Twin Creek's Crossing Loop, right there on the park. So swing on in and say hello. Before we get into that too, I want to also mention that if at any point you are like, hey, I need to have a conversation with this guy, we need to talk about buying or selling, just call me. My number is right down here on the bottom of the screen. Call me, text me. I'll be more than happy to help you. We can talk one-on-one about what exactly, these towns are and which one's a good fit for you and for your specific situation. And if you need financing, contact our lender. Melissa Redding, the Strategy One Home Loans, is phenomenal. She's our preferred lender. She does a very, very good job. Has won all sorts of awards. Her information's on the screen right now too and in the description of this video. So shout out to Melissa. She's very, very good. If you're looking for a local lender, which goes a very, very long ways, by the way, here in a small area, okay? A local lender with a good reputation is incredibly important compared to if you said, hey, I'm going to get a loan through one of these big national companies. It's a big difference, okay? So really encourage you, have a chat with her, and I think you'll be very, very happy you did. But back to Central Point. So we love Central Point. Proximity to everything is fantastic. It's very central. Go figure. It's the home of the Jackson County Fairgrounds. So the fair every year is there. The expo has all sorts of concerts and everything there. So a lot of fun stuff going on in Central Point. But really the proximity to Medford, the proximity to the airport, Costco is in Central Point. Amazon just created a warehouse in Central Point. A lot of good stuff going. In Central Point, I'm going to say as a city, I think the government, the city government at Central Point, and the bodies there, they do such a good job. They've done a really, really phenomenal job. And I'd say probably better than any other city in Southern Oregon. I don't think there's a city that I could think of that has brought in the companies and kind of done the things that they've been able to do there over the years. They've redone the downtown area, done a really phenomenal job of that. The Twin Creeks development, where our office is again, is spectacular. Just a really, really wonderful community there. They've done a really good job of kind of updating the roads, the intersections, making sure everything continues to flow well. They brought in Costco out of Medford. They got Amazon's warehouse in there, and there's a lot of stuff that is going on there that is really, really impressive. Honestly, that Central Point was able to get those projects to take place there in Central Point rather than in one of the other areas where they could have, Medford, Talent, Phoenix, any of those, right? One of the things that I think you really are going to love about Central Point is just the kind of like family friendly neighborhood vibe. It's tons of parks, tons of little playgrounds all over the place. The schools have good reputations. You should double check that on greatschools.com or org or whatever it is. But I'm telling you, from what I hear from people, the Central Point schools are very good. Challenges though, you know, a little bit of lack of like some of the artsy kind of stuff that you might get in Ashland or Jacksonville, but and not as much of like the kind of walk around town type of a vibe, but you do get a lot of you know, nice clean town, easy to get through from a traffic standpoint. And I know there's a lot of cool things coming up in terms of like new restaurants and businesses that are coming to Central Point that are going to be really, really exciting. So I do think Central Point as a B is going to end up being an A relatively soon. I would put some money on that one. Not that I control the list or anything, but I would I would say Central Point's definitely up and coming. They're doing a very good job. They were probably a C not too long ago, if I'm being honest, and they've made steady progress and are on their way to being one of the most desirable towns here in Southern Oregon. Now, this is where things might start to get a little controversial, okay? Because the next one is a B that I think a lot of people might say, what? How's that a B? Grants Pass, okay? I love Grants Pass. I think Grants Pass is spectacular. I live in another town, not in Grants Pass, but I drive to Grants Pass all the time over driving to Medford. Why? Because I think it's better. I think the restaurants are better. I think the town itself has more charm, more character, all of those sorts of things. I find myself wanting to go to Grants Pass more than anywhere else really that I could go to for like shopping and stuff like that, which is essentially Medford. So Grants Pass I think is definitely a B. I think it's done a really, really good job. It's the largest town in Josephine County. It has the river going right through it. It has endless amounts of recreational opportunities. It has a lot of affordable areas and a lot of development has been going on. So if you're familiar with maybe Bend, Oregon, and you look at, you know, Redmond to the north, Redmond has grown up significantly because of Benton growing up. And I think what you are going to see is Grants Pass doing the same because of Medford. Medford in Jackson County is growing. And I think Grants Pass is going to grow right on its coattails and do, you know, a lot of really, really good things. So really like what we see in Grants Pass. Great area for like the outdoor enthusiasts who want river access. You want to be able to kayak, you want to be able to boat, you want to be able to raft. Or just go swim, whatever it is. Fishing, of course, is great. Hiking is great. But yeah, I think Grants Pass is great for all those things. It does get a little bit of a bad rap, and this might be where some of the questions like, how are you going to rate Grants Pass a B? Related to homelessness, right? So I think Grants Pass got, you know, kind of shoved center stage in a Supreme Court battle about homeless camping on public property. That was all, you know, has since been resolved. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the city. Being able to say you can restrict those things. And I know I'm going to probably that's probably not a fair summary, but go ahead and research it and you'll see. But essentially, the city is able to now enforce things that they wanted to enforce all along. And I think that's a win for the city because they're able to clean it up and not have, you know, the public parks be unsafe. Frankly, there was times where they were not very safe. But now you can walk through Riverside Park. And I've done it on several videos on this channel, and you can see that they're not overrun with homeless people. They look pretty safe, they look pretty clean, all that kind of stuff. So I again, hats off to Grants Pass for taking on a problem and improving it because it has definitely been improved there. So I will say, you know, a lot of the folks who I work with who tend to be attracted to Grants Pass tend to be family type people who are looking for more affordable than maybe Medford areas, you know, and they want the dollar to stretch a little bit further. They want to be, they want a little bit of land, right? Those types of people are the ones that tend to get really excited about Grants Pass. Or obviously if you have some sort of connection to the area. And last thing about Grants Pass before I forget is that it does have its own hospital. And so I think that's something that does bring in a lot of jobs is the hospital and the supporting kind of clinics around it. So there is a pretty good population around that and some bigger employers like Master Brand, Cabinets, Rogue Valley Door and stuff like that. But anyways, Grants Pass as a whole, great town, B rated. Let's move on to our next one. And that is going to be Eagle Point. So I talk about Eagle Point in a lot of videos, but we don't really feature it as much because it's a little bit of a smaller town, smaller than Grants Pass, smaller than Central Point. But but bigger than a lot of the like small towns like Shady Cove, Gold Hill. No, so it's kind of like in this middle ground, which is a kind of a weird space to be in, but it is an awesome town. Eagle Point, huge amount of development going on out there all around the golf course. It is a great golf community. So if you're a golfer, Eagle Point 100% is going to be one that you're going to want to check out. It also has like that little bit of a rural feel, a lot of farmland around it and stuff like that, that, you know, kind of just maintains that rural vibe. But it's also, you know, the proximity is not the best, and that's why it's probably not an A, honestly. 20 minutes to the Medford airport, 25-30 to the hospital, and those sorts of things. So that's not for everybody. Some people want to be closer than that, but as a town, it does have a super Walmart, so you could really, you know, you don't have to go far beyond that if you want, unless you want to. It doesn't really have a lot of restaurants and stuff though. So I think that's, you know, the one knock on Eagle Point is if you want to go out to dinner, you only have like a couple options, maybe a handful at best. But, you know, in comparison to a place like Central Point, you have quite a few options. So Eagle Point definitely like has a smaller town feel, has a lot of fun things going for it, like the golf course. But really what's going on in Eagle Point that's so attractive is all the development. There's a ton of new construction going on out there all around the golf course, some beautiful homes being built out there. And so if that's something that you're interested in, golf course front living, or, you know, just nice new construction where you can drive your golf cart out of your house and go play around, like Eagle Point, hands down, is an area that should be considered. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Okay, so we're going to talk about the A rated. A, like I scored on all of my tests in high school and in college and all that, never got anything other than an A. Just kidding. Anyways, these towns are consistently ranked as some of the best places to live in Southern Oregon. No matter who you ask, if you say, where's the best spot to live in Southern Oregon, these are the areas that are going to be mentioned without a doubt. And the first one, which is one that we probably talk about as much as any other part of Southern Oregon on this list, and that is East Medford. Okay, East Medford, again, like a lot of development going on up there, beautiful homes. If you're looking like $1 million homes, like East Medford has them. You want beautiful views all over the Rogue Valley, East Medford has them. You want proximity to the hospital, East Medford has it. You want proximity to the airport, to shopping, to downtown, to restaurants. East Medford has all of it, okay? The schools are also pretty popular in that area. And so I think when you look at, you know, a town like East Medford, it really just checks all the boxes. And I shouldn't say town because it's not its own town. It's kind of more of a neighborhood of Medford. But for the sake of this list, we're just going to say it is what it is. And East Medford is its own little kind of area. But again, proximity to everything is very, very good. Lots of growth, lots of development, lots of kind of higher end homes and stuff like that. Lots of active people. So you think about, you know, in a neighborhood where you're going to see a lot of people out walking their dog or riding their bike or whatever. East Medford's that. Okay, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of parks. There's a lot of recreational opportunities with Roxanne right up the hill from you, where you can ride your bike or you can hike up there and it feels like you're way farther away and out in the wilderness. And so really, you know, a lot of wonderful things going on there in East Medford, and it tends to be popular amongst kind of, you know, the professionals of the area, right? The doctors, the, you know, higher management type folks, the attorneys, like those types of people really tend to be attracted to East Medford because it's that kind of higher end area and it's closer to work and schools and all those sorts of things. So very, very popular among that type of a buyer, and in a place that I think is 100% worth a look. If you're especially looking at kind of the upper end of pricing, and you're looking for a bigger house and, you know, those sorts of things, you have maybe a bigger fenced yard so you can let the dog run around. East Medford, like 100% should be considered. It's a really, really fun area. It's a beautiful area with the views and everything too. And I think you will not be upset that you checked it out. Next is Ashland, okay? A for Ashland. Ashland is, without a doubt, the cultural hub of Jackson County and Southern Oregon. I mean, it's the home to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. It's been named one of the best small arts towns in America. Schools are really highly rated. amazing downtown. It is without a doubt the best downtown area in all of Southern Oregon, the Ashland Plaza. I mean, it's not even comparable in my opinion, although there is one other that we'll talk about here in a second that is kind of comparable but very different. But the downtown area of Ashland, I mean, it's just littered with phenomenal restaurants. Very, very good restaurants that get rated highly on a national level. Moss, for example, has been rated or talked about in the New York Times. And there's been a number of restaurants that have been rated in various other publications, and chefs who've gotten a lot of like national recognition for just doing very, very well at what they do. So Ashland, 100% great town. In my opinion, a lot of people that like Ashland are, the retirees, the families, the professionals. It's kind of like a melting pot of everybody. It's a college town too, so you get students, you get renters, you get kind of the whole mix, which is great. I think Ashland has its own little, balanced community going on there. And it's, if there's one knock on Ashland, is that it might be a little bit isolated from the rest of Southern Oregon. I would say in more ways than one. It's kind of on its own little island out there a little bit. It's the first town you come to if you're driving north on I-5. You come right into Ashland. You border Talent and then Phoenix and stuff, but it's just kind of like isolated a little bit there. And it's also isolated a little bit politically. Ashland is 100% like the most liberal area in Southern Oregon. And it's kind of surrounded by an area that is more predominantly conservative. Although, if you've ever asked me about this one-on-one, I'll tell you exactly the same thing here, which is that Southern Oregon tends to really not be a hyper-political place. So I'll tell you the facts, which is that Ashland is definitely a more liberal area. But I bet you if you were driving through Ashland or Medford or really anywhere in Southern Oregon, you're not going to feel like it's hyper one way or the other. I think you're going to feel at home. I think you're going to feel welcomed no matter what your viewpoints are. And I think that that's something that a lot of my clients who have relocated here from other areas have shared with me, that they never felt, judged or out of place or anything, regardless of what their position is on any of these things. So anyways, I think that's worth knowing about Ashland, but it is definitely a A-rated town. It does have a lot of incredible things going for it. It's beautiful. It has Lithia Park. It has a lot of beautiful homes in it, a lot of higher end stuff too. So Ashland is definitely one of the more expensive parts of Southern Oregon. Median home price is going to be quite a bit above the 450, which is the median in Southern Oregon overall. Ashland's going to be closer to like the 600 range, but you're still able to find homes for quite a bit less than that. So a wide range there in Ashland, beautiful town, lots of amazing things going for it, and it is A-rated. Last A-rated town before we get to the most controversial topic of this entire video, which is, I still can't believe I'm going to tell you this, but last A-rated town is Jacksonville. And I love Jacksonville. It is historic. It is beautiful. It is where Southern Oregon began back in the 1850s. And they have done such a good job of preserving the town and that old style architecture and creating, some really fun restaurants and buildings and just kind of maintaining the whole thing. It's really, really fun. Lots of boutiques and shops, and going into some of the coffee shop, the Good Bean Coffee, I think is a great little spot to go check out because it just feels like you're in an old building. You walk in there and just the floor feels, like a cool old wood floor. It's just really neat. You got to just experience it. Anyways, Jacksonville is spectacular, very popular for vineyards, for just kind of the good sense of community, very walkable streets, all those kinds of things. Definitely more popular with the kind of retiree type of a crowd than the younger professional school age type of a crowd. For whatever reason, it just tends to attract that and maybe appeal more to those folks, but there's certainly a good mix. I know plenty of younger families that live in that area and they absolutely love it. I also know a lot of retirees that live in that area and they also love it. So a big mix, and a lot of good things going on there, like the Brit Festival as well, which is an outdoor concert series in Jacksonville that's phenomenal, a ton of fun, great venue, beautiful views where you can sit out there on a hill and watch a concert and overlook Southern Oregon. But love Jacksonville, great vineyards, great food, great scene, just a great town overall, and that is why it is an A on this list. So now we are here. Dun dun dun. What is the number one highest rated, best of the best town in Southern Oregon, the pinnacle of Southern Oregon living, offering the best of the best lifestyle? It's Rogue River. And I am 100% biased on that because I live here, I grew up here, and I love it. And so if you ask me what is my favorite part of Southern Oregon, it's Rogue River. And too bad, this is my video. So I'm going to tell you, this is my list, this is my video, and I'm telling you Rogue River is the top, okay? Here's why though. I'm not just going to not substantiate it, okay? Here's why. And yes, I will agree, I am a homer and I am 100% biased, and I can't even hide that. But the proximity to Grants Pass, the proximity to Medford, but also maintaining like this little small town feel, okay? So Rogue River has everything. If you want a pharmacy, a grocery store, a hardware store, a doctor's office, restaurants, good restaurants actually, as a matter of fact, gas stations, mechanic, dentists, banks, it has everything. I mean, what could you need? And if you can't find what you need here, you could just hop on the freeway and in less than 10 minutes, you could be in Grants Pass and it has everything. Or in 20 minutes, you can be in Medford. And so I think, just the convenience of being right in between Medford and Grants Pass is amazing. And it allows you to feel like you have access to all these bigger town, bigger city, if I could say that, amenities, while still having an actual like small town feel. It's very tight knit. Everybody knows everybody. It's fun. I mean, it's what you think of when it's the lifestyle, I guess, that you think of when you think of like the traditional, stereotypical small town where you can wave at everybody driving down the street because you know half the people. You can't go into the grocery store without, seeing somebody you know and striking up a conversation with them. If that's the kind of living in the lifestyle you want, this is a phenomenal town for that, okay? It has all those things on top of being on the river, okay? So Rogue River flows right through the town of Rogue River. Who knew? It has proximity to outdoor recreation, all sorts of stuff. And so I really just think that Rogue River as a town is as good as it gets in Southern Oregon. But again, I am 100% biased. I live here personally. I grew up here. That's probably why it's such a highly rated town, is because this is the only town where you can actually be my neighbor. So that's that. We'll go ahead and wrap it up there, because the reality is this: Southern Oregon offers something for everybody. There's no doubting that, but figuring out what area, what town is the best fit for you, that's the challenge. And that's what I would love to help you with. So reach on out to me, Brian Simmons with the Buying Southern Oregon Real Estate team, and I can help you, or my team can help you, to find the perfect town, to find the perfect home, so that you can call Southern Oregon your home. So thank you for watching this video. We will see you on the next one.